Recently, there's been a pretty big amount of people who are saying that Jujutsu Infinite is not in a state that's ready for release, and others that are saying that it's completely ready and should be dropped now. In this video, I am gonna tell you if Jujutsu Infinite is ready for release. First off, I want to preface this video by saying it's gonna be split into a few parts, those being certain aspects of the game, such as gameplay, progression, PvE, PvP, balancing, and graphics. Another thing I want to say before I start this video is that you should subscribe. Hey!
Remember me, bitch?
You again. Huh? Well, this time I came prepared, motherfucker. Die! All right, I forgot what I was saying before that motherfucker arrived. Let's get into the video, yeah? All right. So starting off with gameplay, we're gonna list the cons and pros. We'll start with the cons. First off, at times the gameplay is a bit unpolished and janky, which is pretty annoying when you're trying to do one of the various things the game offers. Sometimes you'll freeze mid-move, sometimes you'll lose a fight because you start floating in mid-air. But this is to be expected, of course, since the game is not released. Another thing I noticed is the GUI are way too big. It's kinda annoying they should reduce it a bit, cause it looks like too much. Finally, what I really don't like is the ring systems. I don't oppose it as a whole, but for certain things, those being domain shards or maximum scrolls. I feel the previous obtainment was good, as it was maybe with more requirements. All right, with the negatives out of the way, I'll start with the pros by saying this is some of the most fun gameplay I've ever done, if I'm honest. I love how fluid the movement is when you're in combat, and how fast you move, as it's a real change from slower combat. Like, man, in the anime, they are not fighting this slow.
You wake up on a morning, it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, you've got no
So many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that.
All right, you get the point.
I love the way the fighting flows in this game and how both opponents get low. It's barely one-sided, so skilled palliers and unskilled players can both enjoy it. I really like how you can switch between taijutsu, URCT, and weapon 2. All right. For the PvE, I'll start with the pros. First off, the boss fights are absolutely phenomenal in this game. For example, the clip that should be playing right now is Nightmare Mode Dagon, which makes for a very fun and challenging fight. It's not something you can do while doing something else. Most, if not all of the time, you have to be sentient to fight, which is great compared to games such as Grand Peace Online, where you can just go up somewhere and use ranged attacks. The boss can and will put pressure on you and usually does a lot of damage. It's a great team experience as well because the bosses get buffed. Another thing I like is that mission NPCs can use domain expansion. It's a great feature as you can implement the beautiful clashing into the game without needing to fight other players to do it. All in all, great from a PvE perspective. There are issues, though, such as the regular curses or the curse bosses just not feeling fun to fight at all. I don't know what it is about it besides how janky and slippery they are. They're kind of just a forgettable aspect. Another thing I don't like is the fact that some NPCs are so weak and don't provide a challenge. Now, the PvP in this game sure is something. First off, I'll start with the cons, specifically in the rush mechanic. I believe that the initial rush should be blockable and just do a big chunk of your block bar. I think it should also be easier to parry, so it's possible to have some more counterplay against it. This helps the rush, 1, in not being countered too easily, and 2, in not being too easy to land, so there's more skill attached to it. I also would like the idea because it gives people a reason to use the rush variant in the strength skill tree, which teleports you to them if you hold on it. Another thing I don't like about the PvP is some imbalances. For example, Anything below legendary that isn't cryokinesis is quite and utterly useless compared to legendary and special grade techniques, and I understand that special grade techniques are supposed to be OP, but on release, we won't be getting 3,500 spin codes or anything of the sort. Lots of people are going to be stuck with rares, commons, or uncommons, further backing up that maybe some of those more common CETs should be buffed or reworked. All right, for the positives, there is a lot. This combat, as I said before, flows very fast and 80% of the time very smooth. I love how fluid it is. Another thing that I love to see in these sorts of games is an evasive that actually works and helps you not get annihilated. I love seeing this game take an approach different to the combat, as you move a lot too. The focus system is reminiscent of the Marvel's Spider-Man franchise, and I'm loving it. The way you can use it to land a black flash or heal is great, as well as for some moves. I love the awakenings, which you need black flashes for, similarly to, spoiler alert, how Gojo got his against Sukuna. I really am a fan of the domain clashing mechanic. If you couldn't tell already, it's incredibly visually pleasing and feels intense as it should. One of the things I love most about the PvP is the amount of possible builds you can face, since there's so much variability considering skill trees, energy natures, CTs, weapons, mutations, etc. The combat is incredibly exhilarating as even a bad player can do good against a good player without spamming, making for fun gameplay for everybody. I really love the air combat as well. It's incredibly smooth. Overall, I think the PvP is great. Okay, for the progression. I'm gonna keep it real. This progression is ass. Dude, all you fucking do is bandit beat till LVL 420, then bandit beat some more to get domains, maximums, and all the fucking cool stuff. I am done defending this part of the game. Robby, fix this disgusting shit. Okay. Sorry about that. I guess you could say I crashed out. But yeah, the pros for content are pretty simple, and so are the cons. First off, the pros, I like how there's a lot to go for in this game, and you can be just fine with only one or a few of them. For example, if you get a maximum shard before a domain shard, you can still put up a fight against someone in their domain, and vice versa. There are a plentiful amount of cons because a lot of the content in the game is locked behind, I'll let you gut bandit beating. So you keep killing NPCs till you get the drop. Just like mid-piece. Online. I just feel like there's not enough end game to actually use the stuff that you spend 20 hours bandit beating for. Okay, now that all that stuff's out of the way, what do I believe? I think that the game needs more endgame content and better progression if it wants to last more than a month, and also a little bit of polishing and changes in the GUI. But besides that, it's a great and fun game that wouldn't do bad on release. But that's only what I believe. What do you guys think? Did you disagree with anything I said? If you did, go ahead and tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Yo, it's been a while, huh?
What?
Fuck you, Nick.
No! Ah!
Subscribe or you're next.